everyone, to the 2002 Business Leaders Breakfast Series. I'm very lucky today to have Mitch Crump from the owner of Vine Ventures. So, Mitch, tell us a little bit about your business, Vine Ventures, and how did you start the business?
Yeah, thanks, Wayne. Thanks for having me on. Our business is, we're a small wine tool company.
Yep.
We've got a couple of vehicles that go out every weekend and during the week as well. We do group tours, private tours, private group tours, as well as private charters as well. So we've taken groups around the region, not just Central West, but towards the Blue Mountains and further west, things like that for different events. And yeah, my wife and I purchased the business a bit over 2 years ago. We'd spoken about doing a wine tour business for a little while. It was a pretty good fit just because my wife grew up in Newcastle. She's still got a lot of mates up there, got mates in Sydney and stuff like that. And if ever we had friends come to town, then it's what we do. We'd jump in the car on a Saturday afternoon and go out and check out some cellar doors and go and taste some of our lovely cool climate wines and stock up the wine rack in the process, which is a pretty good way to spend an afternoon. And so yeah, so it was quite a good fit. The opportunity to purchase the business came up. We'd spoken about it, and yeah, we jumped in a couple of years ago, and it's been great. It's been nice and busy. Yeah, it's lots of fun.
Okay, so that purchase would have been in the middle of COVID?
Pretty much, yeah. So it started of 2020. So things were getting a bit crazy then, and we sort of bought the business. Then New South Wales opened up, and I think we saw the influx of visitors to Orange then, something that we'd never seen before. Really, when the town, I think there's they were saying an extra 15,000 people on weekends at times. So huge influx of people. We were flat out from the start. Then we got hit with a few more hurdles of other lockdowns and Omicron wave and things like that. So which every business has had to deal with. But yeah, that's been a few of the struggles. But yeah. As far as things that haven't worked before, I think you asked that, Wayne. I work as a firefighter full time, and I've done that for about 15 years. That's obviously my full time job. But with that job, it allows flexibility where we work shift work, so we have a few days off, and it's pretty important to stay busy on your days off, just for a lot of it for mental health reasons. You don't want to just be sitting around on the lounge. So lots of fireys have secondary employment. Quite a few of them are business owners, actually. But yeah, with that, I've always had a second job. I've tried a few different things. When I worked in Sydney, I was a lifeguard and a gym manager at one of the Navy bases. I've been a builder's labourer, pool cleaner. What else? I was employed to chase birds off the runway at Orange City Airport for a while, which was an interesting job, but didn't last too long doing that. The early starts weren't real healthy for me, but and I also had a crack at real estate. I'm a licensed real estate agent. I set up a company a few years ago to be a buyer's agent. That's one that my wife describes it as a very expensive hobby. It was a bit of a phase, but it wasn't. It's been a passion for me, real estate, for quite some time. I still keep an eye on the orange market, but that one I didn't throw it 100% into that business. It wasn't a failure, but we just sort of petered out and thought we might try something else. So
you had other passions.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. It's
So basically, you sound like the busiest person I know.
Oh, so no, there's a lot going on. We've got a young family as well, so we are nice and busy. But I don't know. That's how I like it these days. It's a bit of a struggle with family time and things like that. Just prioritising what we can do, but try to make the business work, around what I do, but it takes up most of my spare time, really. And there's some days when you want to do something, but you really have to get an email away, or get back to a client and or book something in. So just getting that balance.
And that's always the hard sort of thing, especially with family, especially with that sort of balance there, because you'll have clients, they'll ring you at 8:30, 9 o'clock, and they expect an email or a phone call back straight away.
Yes.
That's your family time too.
Yeah, that's right. Just getting that balance.
Yeah.
It's good. We can shoot off an email in between games with my daughter, I suppose. It's the benefits of the internet and stuff.
Okay. And what's her favourite game?
Well, this morning was just chasings around the house, but hide and seek is
cool.
Growing,
Okay. Yeah. So you've mentioned that you're a firefighter. How do you feel that's helped you run a successful business?
Well, as far as wine tours and firefighting, they're pretty different. Pretty different areas of employment. It's I suppose one thing with being a firefighter, our core role is to help people. Often the day we deal with a member of the public is often the worst day of their life.
Yeah.
Where they might be involved in a serious car accident, or their house is burned down, things like that. So dealing with the public in that regard, we try and make their day a little bit better and not worse. That's at the core of what we do. So it's all about helping people, caring about your fellow citizen. And I suppose that crosses over to wine tours. The difference being that we try to make it the best day possible for our customers and lots of fun. But with regards to just treating everyone with respect, that crosses over for both jobs, and that's the most important thing. I think small business is just treating the customer, they're not a number, they are a human, and understanding what they want, and getting the best for your business, but also making sure that they're going to come back.
Yeah, and they'll tell their friends.
Absolutely.
What a great experience.
Yeah.
Probably the other sort of thing when I think of a firefighter and also small business, it's that discipline too. It's that training, it's that sort of support, and it's those whole elements which really translate into small business.
Yes, I mean, absolutely. At work, we've got set routines where we have to, check equipment, clean everything, and things like that, and that kind of drill a level of discipline into you, which has certainly helped with running a business. Just making up your own rules with your business. You're not being told by your boss what to do, but making some of those rules cross over and saying, this is our standard that we set with regards to getting back to people, as well as on the tours, making sure everything's safe, up to standard, and everyone has the best day possible.
Okay, no, that's great. So probably what's some of the biggest challenges you've faced in the business in the last 2 years? I know you've had sort of the COVID we've already talked about.
Yeah.
Any other challenges?
I suppose that's the biggest one. With COVID, it was the tricky part for our small business, I'm sure it was with other people as well, was, there was government support. I think the government did a wonderful job that Gladys and Don Perrottet as well, and ScoMo, I think they kept things ticking over, which really helped small businesses. And, we got some government funding, which just meant that we could still pay our bills and stay afloat. It was after when the Omicron wave sort of hit, where we weren't in lockdown, but we experienced, I think about $20,000 in cancellations over a few months, and that was because people were getting COVID. So many people were getting COVID. We just had cancellations after cancellations, which we were probably not doing the best for our business, but we tried to refund everyone where we could because obviously people can't help getting COVID.
Yeah.
You don't want someone to come on the bus with COVID and spread it around. So that was a real struggle for us then, and we managed to keep our heads above water by just managing the cash flow and things like that. But I learned some pretty quick lessons then about keeping some money stashed away for times like that. So some pretty hard lessons on that, I suppose.
Yeah. And did you have the same problem with staff there going, I'm sorry, I've got COVID?
A couple of times. So we've got 3 drivers as well as myself. And my wife does sort of some admin and social media sides, but it's mainly me doing the bulk of the business management side. But we had to call in a few favours from some other drivers when they had things planned, where we had staff getting sick there too. Yeah. So that was a real challenge.
No, it's a really big puzzle for all that. So tell us about, from what you've seen over the last 2 years, some of the current trends in tourism in Orange and the Central West.
I suppose some of the trends that we're seeing is tourists are coming out here and wanting a whole experience. It's not just let's book a hotel and let's see if we can get in here. It's coming in and experiencing what Orange is, which isn't just the wine. It's the food and all our local producers as well. We've got some lovely shops around Hillside Harvest and Agrestic Grocer where you can purchase some really great local produce. We've taken groups out to see some of the orchardists, 4J's hazelnuts, places like that, where they actually see a working farm, see the produce, get to taste it on site, and take away a few things from the shop as well, and people are just really loving that side of what we do out here.
I remember one local winemaker used to take people through the vineyard when the grapes were on the vine, and said people often think wine grapes are different from table grapes, and you actually have them taste the different varieties.
Yes,
so it's those little experiences you just can't get in Sydney.
No, that's right, and that's the beauty of Orange too. I think is that we're still small enough where you're dealing with the owners most of the time at the vineyards. The winemakers as well sometimes, and people really like that boutique. Rustic is probably not the right word, but just that sort of real raw family side of what a lot of our businesses, our growers and producers are, which is cool. I suppose some of the more other trends we're getting is small groups that want a high level premium experience.
Okay.
We had one group, flying on a private plane to do it was the Parks Festival, Elvis Festival. But they wanted a bit of a taste of Orange with that as well. So we booked in restaurants. They stayed at the Jerusi in Orange, but they got driven over to Parks for the day. Got their Elvis fix and then came back for a nice restaurant meal and stayed at a nice hotel. So and then flew home on the private plane. So and we're working with that business to do a few more groups like that. So that's certainly something that we're seeing is that people are happy to spend a bit extra for that real premium level of service.
And that high level, and especially the restaurants there, because it can be quite hard. A lot of people come to Orange and think I can book a restaurant on the day.
That's a common thing when people jump on the wine tour bus in the morning and say, what's Lolly Radini like? Should we book it tonight? And I think, well, no, you should have done that a few months ago. And that's people just have to get used to that. I think that there's still a bit of a mentality that we are a small country town. And I think it's a bit of a shock to some people when they come out here and they see how vibrant we are, how busy we are on weekends, and that. There's lots of other tourists that are trying to do what they're doing.
Okay, so how do you see Orange compared to Mudgee for the wine tasting in the weekend experience?
I think comparatively, I suppose Mudgee's certainly more established.
Yeah.
Some of the vines in Mudgee are about 150 years old.
Yeah.
Orange is one of the younger regions in Australia, so we're only about 40 years old.
Yeah.
But in that short time, we've grown to about 60 vineyards.
Yep.
So we're kind of a similar size to, as far as vineyards go, to the Mudgee wine region.
Yeah.
I suppose the difference is what I mentioned earlier, is that we're still small enough to be that sort of family-owned boutique style of setup. Some of the places in Mudgee, not all of them, are sort of big commercial places where when you do the wine tasting, you're speaking with a staff member, which is still wonderful.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people really appreciate some of the smaller vineyards where we go in Orange. And then you meet the owner, you get to hear the story of why they came and set up in Orange. There's only a couple of vineyards that are sort of generational ownership, Brangane and Printy, where the younger generation has taken over from their parents.
Yeah.
But normally, because we're so young, it's still the husband and wife, or whoever who came and set up that vineyard, within the last sort of 20 years, most of them. And you get to hear that story of why they did that, their passion for making wine, and why they chose Orange. And being that smaller family-owned side is what sets us apart. And I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, and I think that's amazing, because you're hearing those stories, and just probably leading into the next question, with your business, what's the most successful marketing techniques that you've actually used to get the message across?
Well, for us, Wayne, it's pretty much Google. We're probably not as big on social media as what we should be.
Yeah.
We probably need to grow that side a little bit, but we have Instagram. I'm not a huge fan of Facebook. Sorry, Mark Zuckerberg, if you're watching. But it's for us, Instagram's good because it's so visual. Yeah. And for wine tours, it's a pretty day. It's, you're going outside, and these vineyards are beautiful places, and some of the cellar doors are stunning, and architecturally, beautiful buildings. So that works well for us.
Yeah.
But getting people to book with us, it's pretty much Google. It's when our place on Google, and that took some time when we bought the business. I think we were on page 4 of Google or something. It was a pretty old-fashioned website. It looked like it was made on the Commodore 64. But we upgraded our website. We worked on our SEO, search engine optimization, to get to page 1 of Google, and that's where we get the bulk of our bookings. And second to that would be word of mouth and repeat customers, which is lovely. And when you get a book I've got a group that's coming a couple of weeks for their 3rd tour with us.
Okay.
That's reassuring that you're doing something right.
Obviously, they like something.
But and that trumps anything that you can do with any sort of marketing. But for us, it's Google. If I had more time, I would work on Facebook, I think, and we might look at taking bookings through there. But it's just another way. That's where we have to communicate with customers, and when time as a side business is a priority, especially with juggling family and everything like that. If we try and keep it just inquiries through our website, the bulk of that traffic comes.
Yeah, and I'm a bit like you. I prefer to do a couple of things really well instead of trying to do everything really badly. So keep the website updated there, and Instagram. People love sharing those images and things, and that's that visual, because we want to see people enjoying a wine, looking at the scenery.
Yes,
and it's those things that really sort of sell you to it.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, maybe down the track we'll look for TikTok and things like that, which I haven't got my head around yet. I'm a bit of a Luddite when it comes to social media, but yeah, it's for us, Instagram is a lot of our effort goes into them.
Yeah. So probably on your business, mentoring plays a very important part in a lot of businesses. Who have you looked up to or got advice from?
Yeah, I suppose my parents, they ran a small business in Orange for about 40 years. Very successful small business. They sold that and retired about 7 years ago. But yeah, so my mum and dad were, and they learned from scratch. They didn't know what to do when they were starting out. They were just a young couple, but they worked hard, built up a successful business. And I suppose, that's instilled from them in me is also that importance of knowing your customer, doing the best thing by the customer, and just treating them with respect, because they didn't market or anything like that. Market themselves, they didn't need to. They were they did well, without advertising or anything like that, just because they had such a reputation.
And it was that loyalty, word of mouth, and treating people how they want to. And that would be my my most important mentors, I suppose. And secondly, I think, funnily enough, it's at the fire station where there's good camaraderie there, but we spend a lot of time with one another, and there's other business owners that I work with. Yeah.
And to bounce ideas off each other at work when in the downtime when you're not doing too much is pretty helpful there too. So there's lots of good business minds there, some wacky ideas as well that come out. But it's a pretty good place for bouncing things off.
No, that's great. It's absolutely brilliant having a mentor group. It's not, and you get conflicting opinions, and you go, okay, well, why are you saying this? Why are you saying that? And it really helps you, move your business forward. So no, that's amazing. So after sort of doing this for 2 years, what's your prediction for what's going to happen in Central West over the next 2 or 3 years?
I can't see us going backwards. I think there's probably going to be more opportunities with new hotels opening, and which will lead to new restaurants, and there's some new bars that are opening up in Orange. I think Orange is getting our heads around that we are a proper tourism destination. Has been a little bit slow for some people to realise. I had a couple of months ago that did 3 wine tours with us in 3 days in a row. And they were staying in Orange for a week, just as a holiday. And I said to them, 15, 20 years ago, if you had told someone you're going to Orange for a week, they would have laughed at you. But that's what Orange is now, is a proper tourism destination with great food, great wine, great hiking, things like that, mountain biking. We've got Lake Connells and Mount Connells, these beautiful natural assets that sit on our doorstep. I think COVID had a silver lining in that so many people came over the Blue Mountains for the first time in their lives, expecting probably dirt roads and a horse tied up out the front of an old pub, not realising that we're a thriving regional city. There's plenty to do out here, so we've already got repeat customers from that wave where was their first visit to Orange. Then they've gone and grabbed their mates and booked in another tour and said, come and have a look at this place, it's pretty good. So I think the town will grow, tourism will get busier, and I think we'll continue to thrive. We're lucky with our Orange 360, our Vignons Association. These groups that really help out, they do so much, I think, promoting the brand. So for a tourism operator, we're so lucky to have groups like that do the legwork for us and get people out here. So
make it a bit easier.
Absolutely.
So do you have any quick advice for someone who wants to start a business or a side hustle?
Look, having had a crack at quite a few things on the side, I think yeah, it's to quote Daniel Ricciardo, sometimes you just got to lick the stamp and send it, as one of his quotes, I think, and that's appropriate for business as well as racing cars. But sometimes you can think about something for so long, and you know, that's a bad habit of mine, is sort of dreaming and thinking and not actually doing. But when you actually do it, you realise there wasn't that much to fear. I think that's just overcoming that is is important.
No, that's amazing. How can our viewers and listeners find out a little bit more about your business?
Just Google, Vine Ventures.
Vine Ventures.
Yeah, Orange. And book through our website. Check our website, or our phone numbers there. They can contact me. I'm always happy to talk about Orange. And it's one of the things that I do on the tour is, I see myself as a bit of an ambassador for the town.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate to be in a position like that, and I help out with restaurant recommendations, bar recommendations, accommodation, everything like that. We can try and steer people in the right direction if they're looking at booking a weekend up here.
That sounds good. So we're close to sort of wrapping up, but we have a session where we call the Fast Five.
Okay.
Everyone gets asked a few questions there, and just talk about what comes to the top of your head. So 3 dream dinner guests, and what menu would you have?
Yeah, right. I'd probably cook.
Yeah.
Regarding the menu, it'd be T-bones with some side of greens, maybe some mash and some pepper sauce. So just something pretty Aussie like that, I suppose. But guests, Ricky Gervais, I think, is a bit of a legend. I think he's obviously super funny bloke, but he also, I like the way he views the world. He's got a pretty good grip on what's right and what's wrong, and what deserves to be poked fun at and things like that. I'd probably get. You'd have to have Donald Trump, wouldn't you? I don't know. But everyone probably says that, but just for entertainment, maybe for comedy more so than Ricky. And I suppose going down a similar line, you might just go with it.
Definitely. So here's probably a really loaded question, especially for your tours. Best cafe or restaurant in the region?
Look,
or you can name a couple.
Yeah, okay. Cafe, some of the best cafes. We're blessed with that. Birdie, Factory Espresso, Bill's Beans, East Orange. They're all absolute crackers. Restaurants, Lola Radini, and Printhy's new restaurant, sensational, and Chard. You can't go past Chard. It is. We are so lucky to have a restaurant like that in Orange. I think it's pretty special. Every meal there has been amazing.
No, we're so spoiled over sort of Orange and the Central West. With all these great cafes and restaurants there. I like to swap and try different things each time. So each one's quite unique. What's probably one of the hidden gems in the Central West that you'd like people to know about?
I think probably Patina Wines. I think when we take people up there and they see that place, it's a lot of locals don't know it's there, but just to go up there, do a wine tasting, because it's not just wine tasting. The gardens that Gerald and Angie have made up there, and the location is worth seeing. If you haven't been to Patina, go out there. Amazing wines, but go for a wander around the gardens as well, because it's pretty special.
No, that's amazing. Favorite holiday in Australia, or one on your bucket list?
Probably the best holiday I've had. My wife and I went around Tassie for our honeymoon, which was basically one big wine tour, whiskey as well. But we took the car across on the boat and brought back lots of wine, lots of cheese, lots of whiskey. Tassie's pretty amazing. Bucket list would be Margaret River. I haven't been to WA.
Okay.
But just getting over there, checking out Margaret River, and then the southern area down to Albany, which is pretty amazing by the looks of it. I'd like to check that out too one day.
No, that's and basically, very loaded question here. Favorite wine in Orange?
Yeah, I can't answer that. Look, we're just so lucky to have such a great variety from sparkling, beautiful white wines, orange. All our whites are sensational here, and then our cool climate reds, and some of the best Pinot Noirs in Australia, which is my favourite wine at the moment to drink is Pinot. I can't. I'll get it.
I know. I was about to sort of say we'll have all the winemakers on the phone, so get going. What's going on? So that's the end of our interview. So thank you, Mitch, for coming and talking to our viewers and giving them a little bit of an insight about sort of the business, the hardships, but also some of the positive things that you're saying.
Hey, thanks, man. Absolute pleasure.
Lovely. Thanks for your time.
Thanks.